sparked by a week of violence is just wrapping up. The violence in Avondale started Sunday when Dominque Lee, who was pregnant at the time, was shot on Reading Road near Helen Street. While doctors saved her baby, Lee died. Then yesterday, a 25-year-old man was critically wounded in an apartment on Forest Avenue. His father is charged in that crime. Marchers gathered today in the parking lot of the United Way on Reading Road. About a dozen people prayed together before marching a short distance, and they were chanting, "Stop the violence."
It's just time for us to put an end to this senselessness.
Very personal, especially this one when a mother is gunned down and taken, because it reminds me of my situation where my mother was gunned down and she was taken from me as a child.
After hearing about the acts of recent gun violence plaguing Cincinnati, Pastor Tate was one of the community leaders who put the march together. He held a news conference yesterday calling for an urgent cry for the community to step up. Local 12's Jenna Cisneros is live in Avondale where the march started, and she spoke with Pastor Tate again today to ask him what's going to happen now that this march is over. Jenna.
And Pastor Tate has a real plan in the works, and it's all to put that fight against gun violence here in the Cincinnati community. And while that plan isn't released to the public just yet, he says the fight, it starts now, and he wants folks who came out to the march today to get to action, saying there's no more time for talking.
One of the things that we've learned over time is that the greatest success for any movement, whether it's violence or civil rights, is that the people that are being impacted by it have to be engaged.
The plan starts at home with parents educating their kids. From there, Tate and his volunteers target the youth.
We've basically taken on an assignment in Rockdale Elementary Academy, Guys with Ties, and we have about 8 to 10 4th and 5th, 6th graders that we're mentoring in that program. And what we want to do is replicate that throughout the city.
He says they also target returning citizens.
There are gentlemen who are returning citizens who've graduated off of probation, who are really doing well, who really want to start becoming more involved in some of the community activities, and we're going to be marshaling them to be spokespersons to help us to get the message out that this is something that young people don't want to do.
Showing children they have options.
We have not only boots on the ground, we have people in the trenches digging tunnels to find ways to get to people.
Pastor Tate will soon unveil a 12-point plan, which he discussed briefly.
We are initiating a new movement called the Positive Force.
Voice and visibility being at the forefront.
The 12 points are 12 access points, and it's from parents to police to pastors to principals to the press to probation, physicians, professionals. All of those will be identified.
And while he says it takes a village, he's hopeful the community will put forth their best foot to curb this gun violence here in Cincinnati. And as for that 12-point plan, he says it should be released within the next few weeks. And of course, once we learn those details, we'll have that for you right here on Local 12. Live tonight, Jenna Cisneros, Local 12 News.
Thank you, Jenna. Police arrested 22-year-old Christopher Goss for the murder of Dominque Lee, the pregnant woman we were talking about.